Vietnam veterans and their offspring are welcome to attend a town hall meeting about Agent Orange, taking place on April 22nd at GCC from noon to 4. GCTV visited the Upper Pioneer Valley Veterans Services District to find out from their director why Agent Orange is still a medical problem for many families 50 years after the Vietnam War, as well as what kind of benefits are available for those still afflicted.
Agent Orange was originally designed, as a herbicide for use on agricultural products. Monsanto was tasked by the Department of Defense to develop something that was stronger to use to defoliate large swaths of land in Vietnam so that there would be killing fields or security around air bases. And on top of that, the military often used it in higher concentrations than what was originally designed for. So the parts per million was very high. And it was soon discovered after it was developed that there's dioxins in Agent Orange and a bunch of these other herbicides that were developed. Those dioxins, once you're exposed to them, kind of attack some of the nerve cells, especially the long nerve cells. Some of that can lay dormant for years for some of these guys. Guys that were exposed and actually had the liquid on them, a lot of them would have a disease called chloroacne, causes rashes. And it would go away, and sometimes it would reappear 10 years later, and these guys didn't quite know what was happening. And then those dioxins stay in their cells, and years later they come down with cancers. There's a lot of cancers that are associated with these dioxins and Agent Orange. Or they may just get prostate cancer, or they may get diabetes, or ischemic heart disease, which they're kind of equating with their age, because these guys are in their 60s and 70s, and they're really not making the connection that that dioxin has been with them for 40 or 50 years since they were exposed to it. And another thing that's happening now, and Congress has recently mandated the VA to study, is these poisons, these dioxins, are getting passed down into second and third generations. So there is a few diseases that the VA recognizes that are passed down to offspring of Vietnam veterans, mostly female Vietnam veterans. But the VVA, Vietnam Veterans of America, and other groups have said, well, hey, there's a lot of our male veterans that are passing down these issues. So they've been mandated to do a 2-year study on some of the birth defects. Veterans are being told you should file a claim now. It may get denied today, but as the VA is forced to recognize these, you have an outstanding claim that's been recognized, and there may be some monetary benefit for the family to help take care of a child that might have birth defects. And some of these children obviously were born in the 70s, 60s, and 70s, and they've been forced to live with an issue all this time too. So we're making sure they get the information that they need. And we're seeing just here in our Franklin County area a lot of offspring that were born with heart issues. So the child might have been born with a valve defect that had to get operated on, and now maybe they're an adult and they're living fine with that, but it was a birth defect they were born with. Or maybe they're born with some sort of spinal issues. So by filing for a compensation like this, one, it can help educate the family to kind of alleviate maybe this is where this issue came from, was the exposure to the dioxin. And two, if there's some monetary benefit that might be available for them, or some health care benefits, that again might alleviate some of the burden that's been placed on the family or the offspring. So that's our goal. Educate and see if there are some benefits that might be available to help them. The veteran only has to have 1 day in Vietnam to be considered exposed for presumptive diseases. So in Franklin County, we have roughly 2,000 Vietnam veterans. And then when you start to add in Western Mass, that's the area that we've invited, and even further beyond that, you're well into the 6,000 to 10,000 range of Vietnam veterans that had at least 1 day on the ground. So there's quite a few of them. And a large percentage of them obviously are healthy and haven't come down with an issue. But just from what we have coming in here in foot traffic and attending our events, there are a lot of them. The other part about Agent Orange is that by attacking those long nerve cells, it actually it adds to the issues of PTSD and some of the other mental health disorders, because it's attacking some of those nerve cells. That's sign of a side effect that we really weren't aware of before. At the event, we'll concentrate on several areas that we see pretty predominant as an exposure to Agent Orange. One of them, a lot of our veterans don't understand, is ischemic heart disease. A lot of our veterans have heart issues, and they might fall under that category. So we get a hold of the veteran or the spouse or the offspring. We take a look at some of the diseases that are presumed to have been caused by Agent Orange. If they have one of those issues or one of those side effects, Then when we'd file a claim for them, we'd set up an appointment, or with one of the other organizations that are there. You set up an appointment with a claims officer. They help you gather the paperwork. They file a claim. And usually within a couple of months, the VA will make a decision and assign a disability rating to that case. And then the higher that disability rating, obviously, the higher the amount of money that the person could get.
Agent Orange, a town hall meeting for Vietnam veterans, taking place April 22nd from noon to 4 p.m. at Greenfield Community College's Dining Commons.